The sky over Verdanine turned dark not from nightfall, but from shadow. A massive pirate fleet had arrived. At least 12 ships, much larger than before, floated above the colony. Their engines roared like thunder. Lights blinked red. Their weapons were charged. This time, they hadn't come to steal. They had come to crush. Inside the control room, Mira stood with her arms crossed. The screen showed enemy numbers, ship positions, and incoming dropships. Even Rico, who usually made jokes during danger, was silent. "They're serious this time," John said quietly. Mira nodded. "Good, so are we." She turned to the colony's main speaker system and pressed the button. Across the colony, a calm but firm voice echoed through every speaker. "This is Mira. We are under attack again. But we're not the same colony we were before. We are stronger, smarter, together. This is our home, and we protect what is ours. All trained colonists, report to your stations. All others, stay low and stay safe. Let's show them who we are." The colony moved like a machine. Barricades rose from the ground. Turrets turned toward the sky. Colonists in armor made from scrap metal took position beside the humans. Rico connected the last wire to the walking cannon bot, which now had 2 arms. "She's ready," he said proudly. "I added speakers too. She plays music." "Music?" Mira raised an eyebrow. Rico grinned. "Battle music. From Earth, you'll like it." The first wave of pirate dropships landed outside the colony gate. The ships hissed as doors opened, and dozens of armed pirates stepped out, growling and shouting. They had heavy armor and energy rifles. But they didn't rush. They had heard stories of the humans, of traps, of chaos, of the strange way humans enjoyed fighting. Their leader, a thick-skinned brute named Zarnak, growled, "No tricks this time. We go slow, break the walls, burn it all." He raised his weapon. "Go." The pirates moved in carefully. But as soon as they touched the ground near the main gate, music began to play. It wasn't alien music. It was loud, strange, and full of drums. It came from the walking cannon bot, now stepping forward with bright lights flashing. Then it fired. A blast of colored smoke and rubber balls flew out, knocking several pirates off their feet. They looked confused. That's when the real attack began. From behind the walls, humans and colonists worked together. Slingshots, energy bows, traps hidden in the ground, turrets that shot paint mixed with electricity. Everything hit the pirates at once. Myra led a group through a side tunnel and came out behind the enemy. She shouted, "Now!" A group of colonists charged from the left while Myra's team attacked from the right. Surprised and trapped, the pirates tried to regroup, but the chaos was too much. Zarnak roared, "Fall back! Bring in the big weapons!" Back in space, one of the pirate ships began lowering a giant weapon pod. It was meant to destroy buildings with one shot. Inside the colony, people watched the sky in fear. Myra looked up and whispered, "No, not now." But Rico wasn't afraid. He looked at his backpack and smiled. "I have a plan." Rico ran toward a parked supply ship on the landing pad. Inside, he opened a panel and activated the small booster jets. The ship lifted off slowly, shaking in the wind. He wasn't a pilot, but he didn't need to fly far, just straight up. Through the headset, Mira's voice came in. "Rico, what are you doing?" "Giving them a surprise," he said. As the pirate weapon pod lowered, Rico aimed the supply ship directly at it. He jumped out just before the ship hit the pod. Boom! A fireball lit the sky. The weapon pod exploded in midair. Pieces rained down like fireworks. The colonists below cheered, but it wasn't over. Zarnak, now furious, marched toward the colony with his elite team. These were pirates who had never lost a battle. Mira met them at the gate. She stood alone. Zarnak laughed. "One human against all of us?" Behind Mira, the gate opened slowly. Dozens of colonists stood ready. They had armor made of steel and shields with hand-painted symbols. Myra stepped forward. "Not one," she said. "Many." The final fight was fast and fierce. But the pirates were tired, and the defenders were united. In the end, Zarnak fell. His ship lifted off without him. The siege was over. The next day, the colony was quiet again. Smoke drifted in the wind. Walls were damaged. Buildings were burned, but everyone was alive. The colonists gathered in the square. Mira stepped onto a crate and looked at them. "You did it," she said. "Not just us, all of you. You fought. You protected each other." The crowd clapped, some cried. Others smiled. Children ran to hug the humans. Governor Narek sent a message to the Galactic Council. "The siege is over. Verdanine stands strong." And I was not insane to hire humans. I was wise. The news of Verdanine's victory spread faster than light. A small colony, saved not by an army, but by a team of humans and local workers, had defeated a full pirate siege. Across the galaxy, people whispered, "Is it true? Did the humans really win? Just a few of them?" And soon, the Galactic Trade Council could no longer stay silent. They called for an emergency meeting. Inside the bright halls of the council building, the air was tense. Crystal lights above flickered as the members arrived. Long tables curved around the center of the chamber. Alien leaders of all shapes and sizes sat in silence, watching as a group of investigators entered. Leading them was Counselor Valex, a thin, serious alien with 4 silver eyes and smooth gray skin. He had studied thousands of battles, but nothing like this. "We have seen the reports," Valex said. "We have seen the footage, but we must know the truth." Behind him, a large screen turned on. A video began to play. It showed the final moments of the siege. Humans and colonists standing side by side, defending their land. It showed Rico's ship crashing into the pirate weapon pod. It showed Mira facing Zarnak at the gate. Some council members stared in. Silence. Others leaned forward, shocked. When the video ended, the room was quiet. Counselor Drex, who once laughed at humans, now looked serious. "We sent inspection teams before, but now we need to speak to them, face to face." A week later, a council ship landed on VERTA-9. From the ramp stepped Counselor Valex and 2 other investigators. Their robes were clean, their shoes untouched by dirt. Behind them, floating cameras recorded every step. Mira and her team waited at the landing pad. They were not in armor today. Just their normal work clothes, dusty and simple. Mira stepped forward. "Welcome to Verdanine," Valex nodded. "We are here to observe, nothing more." "Good," Mira said. "Then you'll see the truth for yourself." For the next 3 days, the investigators watched everything. They saw how the colony was rebuilt by humans and aliens working together. They saw children playing beside training fields where Myra's team still trained volunteers. They saw Rico fixing a water pump, laughing with a group of young miners. One night, they visited the human camp. A small fire burned in the center. The humans sat around it, cooking simple food. The colonists were there too, some playing music, others sharing stories. Volx was offered a seat. He accepted. Mira passed him a bowl of warm stew, made from local plants and earth spices. She said. He tasted it. Strange, but good. A young alien girl stood up and pointed at Mira. "She taught me to use a stick like a sword." Everyone laughed. Then the girl added, "And she told me being brave doesn't mean I'm not scared." Valex looked at Mira. "Is that true?" Mira nodded. "Bravery is fighting, even when you're afraid. That's something all humans learn early." Later that night, Valex sat in a quiet tent with his 2 assistants. "I watched them fight." One said, "They act like no other species. They take risks. They run toward danger." The other added, "They smile in battle. They protect strangers. Even when outnumbered, they don't give up." Valek sat still. They are different. He opened a file on his datapad. It was full of old reports about Earth's wars. Survival stories, disasters, and rescue missions. There's something else, he said. They fight not just to win, but to protect. They don't just follow orders. They follow purpose. On the fourth day, the council visitors asked Mira for an interview. They sat in the colony's new meeting hall. The camera floated above, recording every word. Valek began. You are not soldiers of a great empire. You are not rich. You are not many. So why did you come? Mira replied. Because someone needed help. You risked your lives for strangers? We do that a lot, she said with a soft smile. Valek leaned forward. And what makes humans so hard to defeat? Mira looked around at her team, then at a group of colonists standing outside the window. Maybe it's this, she said. We don't give up, we fall, we bleed. We lose, but we rise again. That's what we are. That's humanity. After the interview, Valek walked the colony one last time. A young alien boy ran up and gave him a small badge dot. It was made of metal scrap, shaped like a star with the word, Fighter. He looked at the boy. Why give this to me? The child smiled. You came here to watch, but now maybe you believe. Valek didn't speak for a moment. Then he nodded and placed the badge on his robe. Back at the Galactic Council, the chamber was full again. Valek stood in the center. The room watched as he raised his hand and said, I visited Verdanine. I met the humans. I met the people. They protected. And I say this now, humans are not what we thought. Yes, they are strange. Yes, they are wild. But they are also loyal, brave, and unstoppable when they fight for what they love. He paused. We should not fear them. We should understand them, and maybe we should stand beside them. The chamber remained quiet for a long time. Then, slowly, one by one, the council members began to nod. A quiet morning covered the colony of Verdanine. The dust storms had passed. The sky was clear. Birds, small flying creatures brought by early settlers, sang from the rooftops. The people of the colony were finally at peace. But deep in the mountains, the leaders of the pirate guild were not resting. Inside a hidden command base, pirate captains from across the sector argued loudly. They ruined everything. One shouted, a small group of humans made us look like fools. Another snapped. The guild's leader, a tall creature with horns and red skin named Grolin, slammed his fist on the table. Enough. The room fell silent. We attacked with our best, and we lost. That team of humans, they were smarter than us, braver, stronger. So what do we do now? Asked a younger pirate. Grolin looked at the report in his hand. A photo of Mira, standing beside alien colonists after the battle, was printed on the cover. We send a message, he said. We ask for peace, the room gasped. Peace with humans? Yes, Grolin replied, or we lose everything. On Verdanine, Rico and John were building a playground for the children. Old metal pipes, mining ropes, and soft padding from used spacesuits were being turned into swings and slides. Mira watched them from a bench, smiling. I thought you were a fighter, one child said to Rico. I fight. But I also build, Rico said, handing her a painted rock. And I make good swings. Myra's communicator beeped. She stood up and walked toward the command room. Governor Narek was waiting, looking serious. We've received a message, he said. From the Pirate Guild. Threat? Mira asked quickly. No, Narek said. A request. He handed her the device. The screen showed a hologram of Grolin. To the human known as Mira, you fought with strength and heart. We respect that. We request peace. A truce. We will not attack Verdanine again. If you accept, place your answer in the box we sent. Mira raised an eyebrow. A box? Outside the colony gate, a small delivery drone waited. On its back sat a simple metal box, unmarked and silent. That night, Mira called her team together. They sat in the same place they had sat many nights before around a fire with the stars above and the quiet desert around them. The pirates want peace, she said. Rico shrugged. Makes sense, they lost. But why now? John asked. Mira held the box. Maybe they're afraid, or maybe they finally respect us. She opened the box. Inside was a piece of black stone, with words carved in galactic basic. We don't start fights, but we end them. Below the words was a symbol, half flame, half shield. The mark of the Pirate Guild, Rico whistled. That's not just a truce. That's a message, Mira nodded. A message from them to everyone else. She stood and looked out over the colony. But now we send a message of our own. The next day, a satellite above Vertanine sent a signal. Across the galaxy. It was a simple broadcast. No weapons. No war. Just words and images. The message began with soft music, then showed scenes of the colony. Humans training alien children with sticks. Colonists building homes together. Mira standing with her team after the final battle. Rico making silly faces at a camera while fixing a broken fence. A wall painted by the children, showing humans and aliens holding hands. Then Myra's voice spoke. You asked why we came. You called us unstable. You laughed when we were hired. But we came because someone needed help. We fought not for power, but for people. We stayed because this is what humans do. We protect, we rebuild, we don't run. And if you try to hurt those we care about, we don't forget, and we don't lose. The message ended with the image of a sunrise over Vertanine. Underneath were 3 words. We are human. Across the galaxy, people watched. On trade ships, in city halls, in quiet farms on faraway planets. Everyone saw it. And the reactions were strong. Some were surprised, some were amazed, some were afraid. But many were inspired. In the outer colonies, where pirates often attacked and the council sent little help, the people began whispering the same thought. Maybe we should hire humans too. Inside the Galactic Council, the chamber was full once again. Drex watched the message on a personal screen. When it ended, he stood up slowly. I once laughed at the idea of hiring humans, he said. But now I understand. Counselor Valex nodded. They are not like us. But maybe that's their strength. Another member added, maybe it's time to stop judging humanity by their past and start learning from their present. A vote was taken. It passed. From that day, humans were no longer banned from official defense contracts. They were now accepted across the galaxy as protectors, fighters, and builders. Back on Vertanine, Mira sat on a rooftop watching the stars. Rico climbed up beside her with 2 cups of warm tea. Did you ever think we'd change the galaxy? He asked. Mira took a sip and smiled. We didn't change it. We just reminded them. Reminded them of what? That sometimes the right kind of crazy is exactly what the galaxy needs. Months had passed since the last pirate attack on Vertanine. The colony, once broken and afraid, was now strong and united. Children ran through the streets without fear. The farms were growing faster than before. The walls had new turrets, and every corner of the colony showed signs of teamwork. Humans and aliens, working side by side. With the name Mira was now known far beyond the dusty planet. And so was the question that started it all. Are you insane? You actually hired humans? But now, that question didn't sound like an insult. It sounded like a smart choice. On a large transport ship traveling through the Orlan system, a group of alien traders gathered around a holoscreen. The news report showed a new colony on the edge of wild space. Double quotes. Defended successfully by a human-led team. The attackers were pushed back in minutes. Colony losses, 0. One trader leaned back and said, looks like hiring humans is the trend now. Another nodded. I heard. Even the wealthy colonies are asking for them. They're brave, a third one said. But they're also different. Different works, the first replied. Especially when the galaxy is this dangerous. On Verta 9, Mira stood at the training field with a group of new volunteers. They were young colonists, some nervous, some excited. Mira walked slowly. In front of them, "Why are you here?" she asked. A tall insectoid teen raised a hand. "To protect our home." "Wrong," Mira said gently. "You're here to protect each other. This place is not just buildings. It's people. And people make a place worth fighting for." She handed each of them a simple stick. "Today we train. Tomorrow we build. And if needed we fight. Together." The group stood straighter. Inside the colony meeting hall, Governor Narek met with two new visitors from the Galactic Trade Council. The visitors brought good news. Verta 9 will now receive support as a model colony, one said. "You've shown that peace and strength can go hand in hand." Narek nodded, pleased. "And what of the humans?" he asked. The visitor smiled. "More colonies want them. Some want to learn from them. Others want to work beside them." The second visitor added, "They don't just win battles. They change minds." At the colony workshop, Rico was building something again. It looked like a flying robot. With arms, John walked in and asked, "What is it this time?" "A cooking drone," Rico said proudly. "It makes soup while flying," John blinked. "That sounds dangerous." "Everything I build is dangerous," Rico said with a laugh. "But delicious too." Just then, a message came through their radio. "Mira to all team members, we've got visitors." Rico dropped his tools. "Another inspection?" "No." Mira replied. "New friends." A sleek white shuttle landed near the edge of the colony. From it stepped a group of humans, 5 in total, wearing clean uniforms with different flags on their sleeves. Mira and her team greeted them. One of the new arrivals, a woman named Sarah, saluted Mira. "We've heard about your work here," she said. "The galaxy is listening, and Earth wants to help." Mira smiled. "Welcome to the edge of everything." Sarah looked around the colony. "You built something real here." "No," Mira replied. "We earned it with dust, sweat, and trust." Later that evening, the colony held a festival. Colorful lights hung across the streets. Tables were full of food. Music, some Earth tunes, some local filled the air. Alien and human children played games. Older colonists danced. Even the council visitors joined in, awkwardly swaying to the beat. Rico ran a stall selling Earth snacks, crispy things he called chips, and sweet cubes called marshmallows. "Try it," he told a curious alien. "Sticky, but amazing." Mira stood on a raised platform and tapped her glass. The crowd turned quiet. "I want to say something simple," she began. "When we came here, this colony was under attack. You didn't know us. We didn't know you. But we stood together. Today, people across the galaxy look at Verta 9 and ask, how did they do it? Here's the answer. We didn't just fight. We believed in each other." She raised her glass. "To humans, to friends, to a future worth protecting." The crowd cheered. Far away, in a classroom on a space station, a young student raised his hand. "Teacher, is it true that humans beat the pirates on Verta 9? The teacher, an elder with 3 eyes, smiled. "Yes, they did. But not with giant weapons or big armies." "Then how?" The teacher walked to the board and wrote one word, heart. On the roof of the colony watchtower, Mira sat alone under the stars. Rico climbed up with 2 mugs of warm tea. "We really did it," he said. Mira nodded. "We changed the story." "What story?" "The one they told about humans, that we were troublemakers. Wild, unstable." Rico sipped his tea. "We are a little wild. But now," Mira said softly, "they also know we protect. We fix, we stand when others fall. And we never give up," Rico added. They looked out at the sleeping colony below. Lights blinked gently in the darkness. It was quiet, peaceful, but Not forgotten. Not unguarded. Because now, the galaxy knew hiring humans wasn't madness. It was the smartest decision anyone could make. In the grand chamber of the Galactic Trade Council, lights shimmered softly across the tall crystal walls. Delegates from over 50 alien species sat in a wide circle, their robes glowing with the colors of their homeworlds. At the center, the floor pulsed with a slow blue light, showing the council was in session. Governor Narek, a tall bird-like alien from the world Vertanine, stood quietly in the middle. He cleared his throat, his feathers ruffling nervously. "I have taken new security measures for my colony," Narek announced, his voice calm. "We were suffering from pirate attacks. So I hired an off-world team." "Which mercenary group did you choose?" asked Counselor Drex, a lizard-like being with golden scales. "The Vex Raiders, the Mech-born?" "No," Narek replied. "I hired humans." For one silent second, no one spoke. Then laughter erupted across the chamber. "Humans?" Counselor Drex leaned back, holding his belly. "You actually hired humans? Are you insane?" Another counselor, with eyes on stalks, spoke while laughing. "They are primitive, emotional. They fight over small things. They once destroyed their own moonbase for a land dispute," shouted a squid-like delegate from the back. The laughter went on. Even the usually serious members were smiling. Governor Narek did not laugh. "You may laugh," he said softly, "but I was desperate. The pirates nearly destroyed our last defense outpost. None of your recommended mercenaries responded. The Thindi humans were the only ones who said yes, and they didn't even ask about payment first." The laughter died slowly. A few counselors blinked in confusion. "No payment?" Drex frowned. "Why would anyone fight without knowing the reward?" Narek looked around the room. "I asked them the same. Their leader said, 'We'll handle it. Just show us where the bad guys are.'" He stepped back from the center and sat down. Wings folded. Far away, on the edge of the known galaxy, the planet Vertanine sat under a dusty orange sky. The colony was small, built on a rich mineral field. For months, pirate ships had attacked the area, stealing supplies and damaging mining equipment. Many aliens had already left, fearing for their lives. Now, things were changing. A bulky human ship landed at the colony spaceport. It looked old and worn out, with burn marks and dents. But as it touched the ground, a hatch opened, and 6 humans stepped out. Their leader, Mira, was tall and sharp-eyed. Her short hair was hidden under a helmet, and her voice was firm when she spoke. "Where's the command center?" A nervous alien technician pointed to a silver building at the edge of the colony. Another human, Rico, wore a backpack filled with tools and wires. He looked around the colony with a grin. "This place needs serious help," he muttered. "Let's get to work." The colonists stared at them. These humans were smaller than some of the other species. They didn't wear shiny armor or carry high-tech weapons. Instead, they wore simple suits and carried gear that looked handmade. Mira wasted no time. "Set perimeter sensors," she ordered. "Check the walls, Rico. Get the turret system running." Within hours, the humans had mapped the whole colony, fixed a broken gate, and turned an old mining drill into a defense. Cannon. At night, they sat around a small fire outside their ship, cooking strange-smelling food. One of the alien children walked by and asked, "Are you really here to fight the pirates?" Mira looked at the child and smiled. "Yes, don't worry. We've fought worse." The child ran off, eyes wide. 3 days later, from the sky came the sound everyone feared, the screeching engines of pirate ships. Alarms rang across the colony. Colonists ran to shelters. The pirates landed just beyond the outer wall. There were dozens of them, tall, armored, with glowing weapons. The human team was already waiting. Mira held a hand radio. "Positions?" Rico replied, "Turrets online. Trap zone set, ready for fun." As the pirates began moving toward the wall, The humans did something shocking. They opened the gate. The pirates paused, confused. Then Mira shouted, "Come and get it!" The humans charged forward, not hiding, not waiting. One human tossed a flash grenade. Another rolled under a pirate's legs and stuck a magnetic mine to their back. Rico fired from the wall, laughing. As pirate weapons bounced off the shields he rigged from mining scrap, the pirates, unprepared for such madness, panicked. One screamed, "They're insane!" Another shouted, "They're humans! Retreat!" Within minutes, the pirates ran back to their ships. The humans didn't chase. Mira just stood at the broken gate, watching them leave. Behind her, the colonists came out of their shelters, shocked. One elder alien whispered, "They won?" Mira turned and said, "That was just the first wave." Back at the Galactic Council, Governor Narek gave his report. He showed a recording of the fight, of Mira charging into battle, of humans using dust storms and electric fences like they were playing a game. No one laughed this time. Counselor Drex leaned forward slowly. "Perhaps we misjudged them." Narek smiled. "You laughed when I hired them, but now I sleep peacefully at night." He turned off the recording. Silence filled the room once again. The colony on Vertanine was calm for 3 days after the humans won their first battle. For the first time in months, the miners and farmers worked without fear. Children played in the open fields, and the sound of drills returned to the mines. The human team became heroes overnight, but Mira knew it wouldn't last. Standing on the watchtower, she looked at the sky with narrowed eyes. The pirates were not beaten completely. They had only lost one fight, and pirates didn't like to lose. Beside her, Rico adjusted a sensor unit and said, "They're coming again. I'll bet my last chocolate bar on it." "You ate your last chocolate bar yesterday," Mira said with a smile. "I lied." They both laughed. Then Mira's face turned serious again. "Get ready. They'll hit us harder next time." In the underground control room, Mira gathered her team of 5. A digital map of the colony glowed on the table. Red dots showed enemy ships moving in space. The pirates were regrouping. "They'll attack from the east," Mira said, pointing to a hill near the colony's farm fields. "That's where our wall is weakest." "We didn't finish the new turret," said John, the team's tech operator. "We don't need it," Mira replied. "We'll use the noise mines and pit traps. Make them feel like the ground itself is fighting back," Rico added. "And I've got a surprise ready." "I turned that broken cargo lifter into a walking cannon. Not pretty, but it shoots." The humans nodded. Their eyes were sharp, their smiles calm. They didn't look scared. They looked ready. By nightfall, the colony lights were off. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. Alien colonists hid in shelters once more, but this time, many of them peeked through small windows. They weren't just afraid, they were curious. They wanted to see what the humans would do. Then the sky lit up with red fire. Pirate ships broke through the clouds like arrows. They came faster, louder, and heavier than before. Bright energy bolts shot toward the colony walls. The ground shook. The humans didn't hide. They moved. Mira gave orders through her headset. "Group Alpha, cover the east field. Rico, start the cannon bot." The first pirate unit landed near the eastern hill and began running toward the wall. But just before they reached it, the ground exploded. Dust and noise blasted into the air. Noise mines screamed with high-pitched sounds that stunned the attackers. Several pirates fell, holding their heads. Then came the pits, hidden just below. The surface, covered with loose dirt, the pirate troops fell in, landing on soft nets that wrapped them like spider webs. From above, Rico's walking cannon bot clanked into view. It wasn't fast, and it leaned to the left, but its gun worked perfectly. Boom! A blast of green smoke burst across the hill, throwing pirates into the air. From the western side, more pirates tried to climb the rocky cliff. They thought it was unguarded, But Mira was already waiting at the top with two of her teammates. She threw a flash grenade down, blinding the first group. Then she slid down the cliff with a rope, landing right in the middle of the enemy group. The pirates didn't expect close combat. Mira moved fast, knocking one over and grabbing another's blaster. John fired from the top of the cliff, covering her. "Keep dancing, Mira." "I always do," she shouted back. The pirates broke and ran. By sunrise, the battlefield was silent. Burn marks covered the ground. Smoke rose from broken pirate ships. A few lucky attackers fled into space. The rest were trapped or tied up near the colony square. Alien colonists slowly came out of their shelters. They looked at the damage and the humans. Mira was drinking water from a metal flask. Her arm had a burn mark, but she didn't complain. Rico was fixing the walking cannon, singing an Earth song in a low voice. Governor Narek arrived by transport. His eyes widened as he saw the defeated pirates. "You stopped them again?" Mira nodded. "They were loud but not smart." One of the colonists stepped forward. A young girl with green skin looked up at Mira and asked, "Why don't you run away when you're scared?" Mira knelt down and smiled. "Because running doesn't help others. We fight to protect, even when we're scared." The girl nodded slowly. Then she ran back to her parents and hugged them tightly. Back in the Galactic Council, a private meeting was held. Counselor Drex watched the new video footage from Vertinine. He saw humans fighting in dust storms, using clever traps, turning broken machines into weapons. He watched them charging into enemy groups without fear. "These are not normal warriors," he said quietly. Another counselor replied, "They don't think like us. They don't plan like us. But they win." A third voice said, "They protect the weak, even when it risks their lives." Drex looked at the screen for a long time. Then he whispered the words many were thinking. "Maybe we were wrong about humans." After the second pirate attack, the colony of Vertinine felt different. Not only was it safe, but something else was happening. Something no one expected. The colonists began to smile again. Children played near the fence. Farmers sang while planting crops. Even the air felt lighter. And in the middle of all this change, the humans were still working. Always working. It was late at night when Governor Narek walked through the colony. He saw lights near the northern wall and followed them. There, under the stars, the human team was building something. Rico had grease on his face and wires in his hands. He was fixing a small patrol drone. Beside him, John was welding metal plates together for a new defense tower. Mira was walking along the outer fence, checking every sensor. Narek checked his time device. It was already past midnight. "You haven't slept," he said. Walking up to Mira. She turned and smiled. "We'll sleep when it's done." That was yesterday's answer too. Rico laughed from behind a stack of crates. "We have a saying back on Earth, sleep is for after the mission." Mira added, "Don't worry, Governor. Humans can go a long time without rest. It's how we survived on our world." Narek watched them quietly. He didn't understand everything about humans, but one thing was clear: they never stopped. By the next morning, the humans had finished 2 more watchtowers and planted motion detectors all around the colony. The colonists woke to find the place more secure than ever before. Even better, Mira had organized something new: training sessions. She stood in the open square, holding a wooden stick. Around her, a group of alien colonists stood nervously. They were holding practice weapons made from pipes and old tools. "We're not soldiers," one of them said. "We don't know how to fight," Mira nodded. "That's why we're teaching you. Pirates come to steal, but if you fight back even a little, they think twice." She showed them how to stand, how to hold their tools, how to aim for weak spots, how to work as a team. Rico built simple armor using kitchen trays and old mining suits. "Protection with personality," he joked. At first, The colonists were clumsy. But Mira was patient. She corrected their moves again and again. She even let them try to attack her with fake sticks. They never landed a hit. By the third day, they were faster, braver, and sharper. The change spread across the colony like fire. Shops reopened. Fields were planted. New buildings rose. The colonists didn't just feel safe, they felt strong. They started helping the humans. Some worked on the fences. Others brought food and supplies. A group of children painted a large sign on the colony wall with bright colors. "We fight together." Mira saw it and nodded with pride. Now they're ready. Far away, in the quiet halls of the Galactic Council, something unusual was happening. A young researcher named Lonnie, from the insectoid race called the Trenni, was sitting in the library archives. She had heard the rumors about humans and wanted to know more. She typed into the system, "Human history, Earth conflicts, survival records." The screen filled with reports. Wars on Earth, battles in deep space. Stories of humans surviving on frozen moons, desert planets, even inside burning ships. One report told of a human team that had lived in a swamp for 6 months to protect a group of refugees. Another spoke of humans fixing a spaceship mid-battle. Using tape, ropes, and kitchen tools. Lonnie leaned back in her chair, stunned. "They don't stop," she whispered. "They don't break." Her mentor, an old council historian, walked by and saw her screen. "Learning about humans?" he asked. She nodded. "Why did no one take them seriously before?" The old historian sighed. "Because they laugh too much. They talk too fast. They look weak." "But they're not," Laney said. "No," he replied. "They are not." Back on Verta 9, trouble was coming again. A small scouting drone picked up movement in orbit. New pirate ships, bigger than before. Mira gathered her team around the table once more. "They're bringing more firepower," she said. "But we have something they don't." "Cannons?" asked John. "Fear," Mira replied. "And unity," Rico added. "Also, I rebuilt the walking cannon. It dances now." Everyone laughed. Mira looked around the room. These people, her team, were tired. Their faces were dusty, clothes worn. But their eyes were alive. "Tonight," she said, "we show them that humans don't run. And this time, we're not alone." She pointed to the door. Outside, over 50 colonists stood, each holding a practice weapon or homemade shield. Their eyes were sharp. Their backs were straight. They had learned. That night, as stars twinkled above, the humans stayed awake again, planning, building, preparing. Mira stood on the wall, staring into the sky. Rico walked up beside her. "You okay?" She nodded. "We're ready. Think they'll come again?" "Oh yes," Mira said, her voice firm. "But this time, we're not just humans. We're a family, and families fight together." They stood side by side, looking into the darkness. The stars above shone bright, but none brighter than the fire burning in their hearts.